This is slide 6, industry and labor, and we're looking specifically here at the part of the New Deal that deals with the relationship between business owners and workers. Okay. So let's start with the NRA, and no, this is not the National Rifle Association. It stands for National Recovery Act, the National Recovery Act, or the group that's implementing it, the National Recovery Administration. It usually just stands for the National Recovery Act, so that's what we'll call it. The National Recovery Act was the most complex of all of the New Deal programs because it tried to combine all of the 3 R's. It tried to get immediate help for people right away, money in their hands. It tried to create temporary jobs to get people back to work, but also while changing the whole culture of work in the country. So it tried to combine all 3 of Roosevelt's R's here, the relief, recovery, and reform, at the same time. So it is the most complex of all the New Deal programs. Now, it does a lot of good things. So let's talk about some of the benefits of the National Recovery Act here. It does a lot of good things again. It sets a maximum hours of labor for workers, so you could no longer require workers to work 50, 60 hours a week, a 40-hour work week. So it sets a 40-hour work week, 5 8-hour days. So workers finally get the 8-hour day they've been wanting. Employers can require you to work overtime, but the catch is they have to pay you extra for overtime. Usually time and a half is what it's called. You get your salary plus half of your salary again on top of that for every hour you work over 40. So it gets a 40-hour work week. It also sets a minimum wage. Used to be, employers could pay as little as they could get people to work for. Now there's going to be a national minimum wage that employers have to meet. So an 8-hour day, 40-hour week, and minimum wage are the real big ones. Also, another huge one that comes out of this, it guarantees unions. It guarantees the workers the right to be represented by a union. So now employers are going to have to negotiate with a union from now on. And finally, a couple other things here. It will outlaw yellow dog contracts. Employers can no longer forbid their employees from joining union. So no more yellow dog contracts. And it's going to restrict child labor. It's still not gone entirely, but it's going to greatly reduce it. Child labor is still around at this point. So a lot of good things, a lot of good comes out of the NRA. Okay. The symbol and the slogan for the NRA, you see up in the top right-hand corner here. The symbol was the blue eagle. Okay. Here in one talon, holding the gears of machinery, as you see, and the lightning bolts of electrical power here. So the blue eagle was the symbol. The slogan, "We do our part." Okay. And it was really important for companies to join the NRA, okay? Because people were encouraged to support companies that had joined the NRA. So when you joined, you got a big poster that had this blue eagle on it, and you hung that in the window of your store, and people saw that hanging in the store, and they thought, oh, this is a company that supports the NRA, that's trying to help get the economy going again. I'm going to buy from them. So you would join the NRA, you got your poster, and you hung it in the window to symbolize that you were paying a fair wage to your workers, that you were working them only 40 hours a week, or that you were hiring as many people as you could. You were doing your part. So people wanted to do their part and support you. Now, as I said, very important to get the poster to hang in your window. However, some people decided they were going to cheat the system. They were called chiselers. Right? That's what that word is there. chiselers. Now, chiselers were business owners that set out to cheat the system. They signed up for the NRA, and they said, yes, we're going to hire more people, we're going to pay them a fair wage, we're going to do all that. They put their poster in the window, they got lots of business, and then they didn't live up to it. So they said they were going to do all these great things, and then they don't. Okay, so because they wanted the business. So they try to cheat the system. Chiselers. If you got caught, you lost your poster, you lost your membership, and you sort of got blacklisted because nobody wanted to support you. Now, eventually, the NRA is going to come to an end. In 1935, the Supreme Court is going to declare that the NRA is unconstitutional. They are going to say that the federal government cannot tell local businesses how to run their business, and that the NRA was giving legislative powers, meaning congressional powers, to the president, and that violates separation of powers, checks and balances. So everything that the NRA had accomplished, all those benefits we talked about a while ago, are going to go away. And Roosevelt's going to have to get them passed again as part of a different program by state governments, not just the federal government. So NRA, very complex, does a lot of good things, comes to an end because Supreme Court says it's unconstitutional, but eventually all those things it does will get redone later on. Okay. Let's talk about another group here, the PWA. This stands for the Public Works Administration. Public Works Administration. Okay. And the job of the Public Works Administration is going to be to build public buildings, courthouses, city halls, things like that, jails, to build public buildings, highways, bridges, dams, parkways, public roads, things like that. Right? The biggest achievement of the PWA was the Grand Coulee Dam, which you see here. The Grand Coulee Dam was built in the Pacific Northwest on the Columbia River, provided lots of irrigation and electricity to the Pacific Northwest that will later be renamed the Hoover Dam, and it currently is still in existence and called the Hoover Dam. Right? But the Public Works Administration does lots of public things for the public to use, mainly roads, bridges, that kind of stuff. Our last topic here on this slide is Prohibition. Roosevelt decides it is time for Prohibition to come to an end. So in late 1933, the 21st Amendment will be passed to bring an end to Prohibition. Roosevelt says ultimately that this is ridiculous. There's a huge industry that could employ millions of people, and we've got it shut down because we don't like alcohol. So he brings an end to Prohibition. America has a drink again, and lots of people get jobs because of it. So that's it for industry and labor.